Hi Year 7, welcome to Lesson 4 of our Viking Inquiry. And let's remember first of all our big question for our Viking Inquiry. Did the Vikings only bring rapine and slaughter? We'll come back to that in a moment. But for today's title, today's title is What did the Vikings buy and sell? What did the Vikings buy and sell? Let's remind ourselves of the map that you can see here on the screen that we looked at a couple of lessons ago. This map shows Viking settlement between the 8th and 11th centuries. And by studying this map and its key carefully, we can work out how the Viking homelands of Scandinavia expanded over the centuries into several continents, into Europe, down into Asia, even into the very north of Africa, and even over to North America. Okay, so we know that the Viking peoples expanded very far beyond their homelands. Today we're going to think about Viking trade and answer the question, what did the Vikings buy and sell? As we go through the video, you've basically got two options with this video. You can either pause the video as we go along and complete the worksheet that goes with this lesson by pausing the video and doing it step by step. Or you can watch the video through to the end and then when you're ready, open up the worksheet and complete the tasks. It's up to you, you choose. Anyway, we know that our big question for this half term, our inquiry question, is did the Vikings only bring rapine and slaughter? In other words, did the Vikings only steal and kill? Or perhaps did they contribute other things? Now, this is a great map. And it links to one of your tasks on the worksheet. Okay, by looking at this map, there's a lot going on in this map, but by studying it carefully, we can find out some of the directions that the Vikings traded in, especially if we look at the green arrow, because this green arrow here tells us the Viking trading and raiding routes. It's important that we can tell the difference between trading and raiding. Raiding is like what the Vikings did when they went to Lindisfarne. They attacked somewhere, they stole, and then they quickly took those stolen goods away. That's raiding. Trading is obviously different. Trading is when you swap one thing for another, okay, without stealing. Okay. Now the Vikings did both. One of your first tasks on the worksheet is to use this map. Can you tell me? Can you try and describe where the Vikings traded by using this map? Can you go into as much detail as you can, please? Okay, here you can see a modern replica of a Viking longboat. This is what a Viking ship would look like. In fact, I believe this Viking ship was discovered as a shipwreck and then rebuilt based on those remains. And as you can see, it's very long. That's why they were called longboats. It's made out of wood. Okay, can you see the holes in the side where the oars would go through? All right, benches for the Viking sailors to sit on. These boats were very shallow, which meant that because they were very shallow, they sat just on top of the water. And because not much of the boat went down underwater, and because of the curved shape of these ships, they travelled very quickly and they were able to travel long distances. That's why they were able to cross the ocean in these ships and travel all the way around the Mediterranean into North Africa and down into Asia, but also all the way across to North America. Okay, amazing what they were able to achieve in these boats. Right, here's another task. There's a paragraph here about the Vikings. It's got lots of mistakes in it: spelling, punctuation, and grammar mistakes. One of your tasks on the worksheet is to try and rewrite this paragraph without the mistakes. Your teacher will send you the answers later. Once you've tried rewriting that without the mistakes, what words would you use to describe the Vikings? Can you come up with some adjectives? That's another task on your worksheet. Also, it's important that we understand the definition of trade. Trade is the action of buying and selling goods and services. We do it all the time. If you walk into the co-op to buy a packet of crisps, you are trading with that shop, okay? Trade is everywhere. If you buy something on the internet, you're trading with that company, okay? The Vikings traded. In fact, let me go back for 1 second. Here we can see a massive modern trading ship. Huge ships like this sail across the oceans today. Huge ships sail across the ocean like this today with massive crates on it, all right, delivering goods across the world. These kind of ships didn't exist when the Vikings were around, but trade definitely existed. And the Vikings traded in two different ways. First of all, they developed a bullion economy along their trade routes. A bullion economy. In a bullion economy, year 7, traders swapped goods for precious gold and silver. These could be coins, or it could be things like jewelry. Bullion means kind of like metal. So, for example, this bag of fruit costs 3 silver coins, or this bag of fruit costs 1 gold coin. So this was called the bullion economy. In other words, coins and currency, or perhaps even other things made out of valuable metals like gold or silver. So that's the bullion economy. That's the first way the Vikings traded. But the Vikings had another way of trading. They also traded in kind. Have you heard that phrase before? The Vikings also traded in kind. Now, what this meant is that they would swap one good for another. Okay? So, for example, they might say, I've got this bag of apples. If I give you this bag of apples, will you give me that crate of wine? And the other person might, well, no, one bag of apples is not worth one crate of wine. If you give me 5 bags of apples, I will give you this 1 crate of wine. So then they would trade one good for another. Now, you might sometimes do that in the playground with your friends, but you don't do it in shops. If you walked into the co-op and said, oh, can I give you this chocolate bar for this bag of crisps? They wouldn't accept that. So we don't really trade in kind anymore. Okay, we use the bullion economy. We use money. In fact, we don't even use the bullion economy now because money's becoming more digital and we use cards and things. But certainly, you're more likely to pay using coins in the co-op than you are to swap one good for another. Anyway, the Vikings traded in these different ways. Now, this slide here gives you a visual idea of some of the things the Vikings traded. And I want you to try and work out which side the Vikings sold and which side they bought. Okay, what can we see here? We can see fur, birds of prey, like falcons. This is iron, walrus tusks, slaves, amber, honey, wheat, wool. And then on this side, we've got slaves again, wine, exotic fruits like figs and prunes, silver, silk, glass pottery, and spices. Now, one of the things I'd like you to try and work out when you do your research in a moment is to try and work out which of these things the Vikings sold and which of these things they bought. Now, how are you going to do that? Well, we would like you in this lesson to do some research on Viking trade. In this slide here, I've given you some links on Viking trade to get you started. All right. So on that first link there, it will take you to YouTube. There's lots of good little videos there on Viking trade for you to watch. And then there's some other links, okay, from the DK Encyclopedia, from BBC Bite Size. And then as you go down this list of links, they do get a little bit more difficult, okay? These ones here especially are more difficult. So if you want to challenge yourself and really find out a lot of detail about Viking trade, you might want to try some of these links as well. You even might want to try and find your own websites. And as you're doing this, please, I'd like you to try and put together a presentation of Viking trade. We did this last year with Year 7, and I thought I'd share a couple of examples of really good ones from last year. These people went away and they made some really nice pieces of work on Viking trade. Okay, look at how well presented these pieces of work are. Lots of detail, lots of colour, nice images. All right, really beautiful pieces of work. You could even make it on the computer. Here's a really good example of some Viking research that was done by a student last year on the computer. So that's your main task for today, and you can again find that in the worksheet. And then there's a question for you to think about at the end. So if the Vikings were good traders, right, and you're going to find out that they were, what did that require? In order to trade in this way all across Europe and into Africa and Asia and North America, what characteristics did the Vikings need? What skills did they need? What qualities did they need in order to be able to trade in this way? Answer that question on the worksheet as well. And then finally, let's return to our inquiry question. Did the Vikings only bring rapine and slaughter? Or did they bring other things? What does what you've learnt today suggest about the answer to the inquiry question? All right, Year 7, that's Lesson 4 video guide. The worksheet is attached in Teams for you to work through. All right, I hope you enjoy the lesson and stay tuned for the next videos. See you later.